Hello, everybody. I'm Peter Grant with Zaner Metals in Denver. Welcome to This Week in Metals. Welcome to my colleague Peter Thomas in Chicago.
Hey, this is your Chicago punching bag. I mean, it's just been nuts here, and you got a problem, we'll call up the guys on the metal desk and scream at them like it's our fault. I mean, we had a Palladium order come in today, and it was like $7 wide, and we were like and that's a good
And
fill. I
your
mean,
point
everybody else was
is,
14, 15 wide. We were the only guys with a tight spread, so it's been crazy because of the volume.
and it seems like I'm a broken record. I say this like every week. It's like, holy cow, what a week!
Yeah, I
And
know.
and then
I
the
know.
week after that, is crazier yet.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's going to be crazy when the head dog on the desk, Tom Garland's out of town.
Oh, of
So
course.
he's
Tom,
at Hilton
Tom
Head
sent me a
drinking.
nice picture of a cold daiquiri sitting next to him by the pool. I said, "Oh, thanks, Tom. Appreciate it,
He is
man."
so not a daiquiri drinker.
I
Oh
know.
lordy,
Yeah.
oh lordy. But yeah, so it was a busy week. Watching the risk on the desk, and you know, this may come as no surprise to anybody, but when you're in the hedging business, the typical position is short.
Right.
And so, props to all of our clients to staying on top of their margin, and
Yeah.
it went as smooth as could possibly have gone in a market that's rallying this aggressively. So shout
Well,
out
I
to
mean,
all you guys. Thanks.
well, and
Well, let's do a quick review of last
yeah.
week. Gold ended up 3.2%. It was the ninth consecutive higher weekly close, new all-time high, $2,074.92.
And
Right
set a
on.
record for consecutive days of buys or overall net long purchases into ETFs as well.
Yeah, 30
Yeah.
days
30 days
as of Thursday,
as
and
of
I'm going to
Thursday.
guess we'll
There you go.
probably see net inflows on Friday as well. So that'll be the 31st day.
Yeah. So we're
Yeehaw!
rocking. Money is coming in, man.
Hey, you people, don't just buy the ETFs. You need some actual physical.
You can have paper or you can have gold. Make your decision
Yeah, those
and
ETFs
make it at
are
Zaner
not
Precious Metals
convertible.
because we're one of the few guys that are delivering on time. And you can secure your purchase with a credit card and then send us in a wire or a check, and we'll lock it in for you.
Let me make this perfectly clear. In an ETF, you underline cannot, read the fine print, stand for delivery.
Thank
No
you.
way.
Next.
And next. So the big mover, once again, was silver, up
Yes, it was.
almost 16%. Also, the ninth consecutive higher weekly close, new
Yep.
7.5-year high at 29 spot 845.
Just briefly though, boy, it just touched it and then turned around.
Yeah, so sold off pretty aggressively on
Yeah, it did.
Friday.
Yeah.
But holy cow, it was like a moonshot.
Yeah.
Not just this past week, but the previous week as well.
Previous
So
month.
yeah, it's
Let's get
just
real.
rocking and rolling. And
Yeah.
even with the pullback on Friday, I don't know that there are a lot of aggressive sellers out there.
I
So
don't think you could I don't think you could be an aggressive seller and still be alive unless you're a large institution or some of our guys that own our mines. They're producing product, but right now they're shut down due to COVID. So all of our big hedgers, they're not producing. So there's really
yeah.
nothing to step in the way here.
The stars are definitely kind of aligned favorably, both from a fundamental and a technical perspective in silver. And, lots of, it had that feel of, it was kind of short squeezy. You know what I mean?
I unfortunately I do know what you mean, and having filled paper on the floor, I will tell you a quick story, which was a friend of ours, a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, was short 30 silver contracts, which is a lot, and the market locked limit up, and he was going 30 at limit, 30 at limit. No, I mean nobody's. It was locked up. There's no trade going on. There's nothing offered. He looks around. He reaches in his pocket. He pulls out his keys. He said, 30 and a brand new whale-tailed Porsche. Anybody wants it, right? And you heard, sold, and somebody got a 2-day-old Porsche. Plus, he got off of it, took some profits on his positions. But that's an old story. It never happened again. But a
Right.
short squeeze, man, when you start selling your cars, your homes just to get out of their position, that's what's going on. It's that scary.
Yeah. And so my sense over the last several months since the whole COVID thing hit was that the bullion banks were sort of legging out of their short futures position
Yes,
because
they
of
were.
the contango, and I mean, the squeeze was on them. My sense was they were largely out of them. At least, in my head, it would have made sense that you wouldn't ride that out. But boy, it sure felt like they got the pinch put on them this week, and
Yeah,
maybe that's true, maybe that's not. We'll see.
and let me add something to this. This is a brand new. We got a brand new player on the block, and this is very. This is like released today. Um, Remember, it's important in the elemental chart. There is a relative stat for resistance or the R factor of a metal. The metal that conducts electricity the fastest, I believe, is silver. And guess what? 5G, which is the new transducer, is running pure silver, and they're talking about all of their antennas are going to be silver, and they are going to need a lot of product. And I got the numbers for last year, and they were way over what was expected. We came in, and I believe it was 16,000 tons of usage. And honestly, I think it caught a lot of people by surprise. Nobody kind of expected it. 16,200 tons last year, of which 6,500 tons was jewelry. 66,500 tons was jewelry. The rest was industrial. And with the new player on the block, with the 5G, we could go way over that. And I don't think we're going to have it because we have 4 months of COVID shutdowns in Peru and Chile, and Mexico has closed its mining consortium is still holding back on full crews. So we could be anywhere from 2 to 3 years behind on silver production. Could we go higher? I think so.
Yeah, I wrote in my newsletter this week, almost
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
tongue in cheek that we were trading, I don't know, around 26 bucks at the time I wrote the piece, and I was like, hey, the way this is going, we just need one more week like the previous week, and we'll be at 30 bucks. It could happen, by the end of the month. And
It don't
well,
happen by the end of the week. I
I
mean,
know,
come on. I mean, it
right?
was just wild, and the velocity has been incredible. So,
Well, this
um,
is something that we've talked about, that
yes,
when you think about all the liquidity being pumped into the market, fiscal stimulus and so forth, that
right,
we have the sense, and we've read it in the press certainly, that a lot of the green initiatives and so forth
right,
would be receiving some of that largesse,
yes.
and a lot of it,
Been talking
it,
about this for 90 days, and it's here, and even though it's one of those things where we were well prepared for it, and it was even more than we were prepared for. So, I
yeah.
think that pretty much covers silver. Let's take a look at gold.
Well, we covered gold.
Yeah,
Um, let's talk platinum. Platinum was up 7% last week. Got hit pretty hard on Friday, but still up 7%. Traded over $1,000 for the first time
first time.
since
Yeah,
February,
right.
and looked pretty good up until Friday. Um, so we had, and we'll just move on to palladium real quick, and then kind of
Yeah,
lump it all together. Palladium also closed up for the week up almost 4%. Um,
right.
Traded within the previous week's range, so we had an inside week. Um, Auto sales came out early in the week, and
Right.
they were generally a little bit better than expected. I mean, still nowhere
And
near.
trucks and light trucks were a little bit better too. I
Yeah.
mean, the numbers weren't as bad as they could have been. So
So it
I
made
was kind of
sense that it.
surprised to see them collapse like that.
Yeah, so it made sense early in the week. And again, even though we sold off late in the week, it was still a pretty good week overall.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Palladium's still well within the broader range, and waiting to see what direction
Well,
it
if
ultimately
you've been,
picks.
the guys, our guys, bless them, our patriots out there rolling during the COVID at their trucks, making sure we have metals to produce the infrastructure in this country. We love you guys. Thank you. We know the guys that have been putting back AutoCADs for a while. Remember, our sell is 2,200. You see some rallies in here. Consider that number to be a good one for part of your inventory. We believe that, it's profitable enough to pump that equity back into your company.
Yeah. So despite okay auto sales, maybe slightly better than expected, and
Right.
factory orders were good. I mean, generally the data last week were
The
were
data
pretty
was
good.
good. And there was a
And
lot
yet
of it too.
copper closed down almost 2%. It was the fourth consecutive lower weekly close. Kind of dropped back to the 9-day moving average. Kind of eyeing support around the 200-day moving average right now.
Well,
And
Pete,
what do you
we
think?
had the mines in Chile, which are the largest producers, one and two, biggest fields in the world, look like they're coming back online in a big way. So it's going to relieve a lot of the pressure. China has been buying, but not as aggressively as we initially thought. So we had a little less underlying purchasing, and we had the potential for more raw ore coming to the market. And I think it's the first bearish news we've had in probably almost 60 days. So I think it hit the market kind of unexpectedly and
Yeah.
hard.
I think,
Yeah,
sort of a perhaps modestly past due correction.
that's true.
It's
Yeah,
not
okay.
like overly aggressive selling here. Um, you know, eh,
Well, I
Maybe
mean,
we
look at the
see a
chart. We went
20%.
from 208 to $3, and at $3, we ran into some pressure resistance, and we set back to 280. Really, that's not that significant.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we'll keep an eyeball on it, but I
yeah.
think generally speaking, let's wrap up last week's data real fast,
Oh,
because
yeah. Please do,
the
because
big
there was a
one
lot of it.
was
It's going to take you a minute,
non-farm payrolls on Friday.
right?
Um, you know, Better, not quite as good as expected, but still a solid number.
Yeah.
When the ADP number came out earlier in the week, it was a big disappointment. I mean, they were looking at like the expectations were like 2.5 million, and it came at 170,000,
Yeah,
167,000.
it was a killer,
So people were like really worried about the non-farm payrolls number.
right?
They needn't have worried. It came in at 1.8 million. Expectations were 1.9 million, so a little bit less than expected, but no big deal. Um, the uh, unemployment rate dropped to 10.2% versus 10.5 expectations, and it was 11.1 in June. So overall, not too bad. And I would sort of categorize the data last week as being generally positive. And
Yeah.
despite the resurgence of COVID and renewed concerns and so forth, um, things don't seem to be too bad just yet.
Well,
That's not saying that
well,
they're not going to get worse.
productivity has been pretty darn good, and I saw an
Yeah.
interesting stat today, which I think interests our viewers. They're talking about you as well as I. I know we're on Zoom all the time, and we're on conference calls all the time. What they said was that they, being Fox News, had a statement where they said that people are not taking transportation back and forth to work. They're on their screens quicker. They're putting in 1 to 1.5 hours more time at productive work per week, per day rather, and it's panning out across the
Yeah.
board. I mean, people are getting more stuff done more hours put in, and they're working from home, and they're saving more money by not running back and forth and office space and time and eating out and all of that. I thought it was very interesting that the virus has brought about a more productive workforce.
No, I think that that's very true. Interestingly enough, the average work week didn't really change all that much. It's still
Right.
around 34.5
Okay.
hours. But
Yeah.
I've witnessed firsthand that very
Yeah.
thing that you're talking about. My wife,
Sure.
who sort of, she works for a school district,
Okay.
and kind of 8:30 till 3, were her hours. But now that she's working from home, she'll be at her desk and at her computer at like 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like,
Yeah.
honey,
Oh,
what are you
well, the
doing?
evening they. Oh, I mean, I'm on the Zoom to Singapore at 9 to 12 every night, just catching up on what's going on in
Yeah,
Asia and trading Asia a little more aggressively now too.
yeah. So she
Yeah.
finds herself prepping for the next day's meetings and so forth,
Sure. Right.
in advance. And I, it's strikes me as that she's working a lot more hours, and it probably strikes her that she's working a lot more hours. Um, but
So I think
productivity
Fox is
is
right. I
good.
think the numbers are right. I think we're seeing more productivity and more hours and less travel time and less consuming of energy. We're not running cars and look at the pollution numbers. They're down
Yeah.
dramatically across the board. So some very interesting things happening.
Yeah, no, it's quite fascinating. We'll
Yeah.
actually get preliminary Q2 um, uh, productivity on Friday this week.
Friday. Okay, thanks. What else
Um,
have we got for next week, Pete?
uh, Inflation data, PPI,
Okay.
CPI, import-export prices come
All
out
right.
early in the week here. Generally, a little bit of an uptick, 0.3% to 0.2% across the board.
Okay.
Retail sales on Friday, expectations are plus 1.8%. So again, a pretty good number there.
That's not a bad number, no.
As I said, preliminary Q2 productivity and unit labor costs on Friday, and then industrial production on Friday
What's
as well.
IP projected at?
Plus 3% is the
Plus
market
three. That's
expectation.
not a bad number considering.
Yeah, so um, my general feel here in Denver is that people aren't as caught up in this whole must lock down
I
mentality. and
They are
and
here. I mean, the heavy Democratic states. I mean, look at New York. The stop and search at the tunnels, and they're trying to lock us down. They want to carry the closed school and people locked down till November, right into the election. Oddly enough, but we'll leave that alone. So, I mean, I think it depends on where you are.
show me your papers.
Yeah, that's not even funny either,
I
man.
know it's
Yeah,
not meant to be funny. It's a little bit
yeah,
disturbing.
yeah, it is.
So, um, but with all that said, I think I've left off with this the last couple of weeks. The trend is your friend, and even though
Trend is
we
your friend,
saw
yeah.
sell-offs kind of across the board on
Maybe
Friday last
let's
week.
put it this way: we've been running up for 60 days. Maybe today was the profit taking day. I think we got one more big down day. It's going to startle a lot of people, and that's going to be a buying opportunity. Don't be frightened by a break. Those of you who own physical, ZanerMetals.com, you can go on there and order, are
Zaner
not worried when
Precious
she breaks,
Metals.
right?
Dude, you gotta get the URL right.
What?
ZanerPreciousMetals.com.
Ah, Zaner Precious Metals will take your credit card and you can buy metal and we will ship it to you. We do have product.
Absolutely,
And
we do. Yeah, business has been good.
not a lot of people do. So make sure when you order, you don't get, yeah, 3, 4 weeks, we'll get it to you. You want it as soon as possible.
Yeah. Well, my friend, have a great week,
Yep,
and we'll talk to you next week. Give us a like, subscribe, please, to our channel.
please do. Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all the other social media
We've been
challenges.
doing
We're on
some
LinkedIn.
midweek pop-ups because the market has been so active. This week on Wednesday, we put something out. Pete wrote a great article, got some good traction with it. So try to keep up because these markets have really been volatile.
Thanks for the plug, my friend.
You
We'll
bet, buddy.
talk again next week.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.